Hi, my name is Manisha from Team 2 and I'm here to start the presentation for Student Recruitment Database System. So let's start with the background of the project. Because of the existence of too many universities offering high quality education, universities are looking for means to increase their recognition among students not only within a state but also outside their own state in order to boost the admissions. The processing of these applications take up lot of effort and time. Also, the process of decision making is very slow and sometimes takes too long from the time of application. Now, some of the issues that are addressed by our own application is as follows. All the applicants' records are at one place. That means that we are actually maintaining a central database system. The prospective students can seek help from the university for any queries he or she may have. The decision making is quicker as compared to the legacy systems that were maintained by the earlier universities. Now, coming to the project overview and the scope. The Student Recruitment Database application is a system that can primarily be used by the admission staff of a university to segment and identify prospective students during the process of admission each term. It can be used in universities, organizations, or any enterprises that are looking to sort, filter, and identify potential students or employees from among multiple applications. Such a segregation or segmentation capability, which is a part of this application, would allow the admission staff to accurately identify the prospective students from among all applications received, thereby enabling them to track and send out personalized messages, mails to them. The Students Recruitment Database application that has been developed by us will help the university to better identify their prospective students from among the tens and thousands of applications they receive each term from students seeking admission. Also, to send out information regarding the university to students which could improve the admissions of the university.
Hello everyone, this is Hanita Nimagada. I'll start my presentation today with conceptual database design. The ER model mentioned here describes the information aspects of our student recruitment application. Each user who is willing to use this application can create their profile, whether it is admin, staff, or prospective students. The user can create their profile by entering their basic details identified by unique ID, which is the primary key, password, first name, last name, date of birth, city, email ID, state, and country. These are the user entity attributes. Now, admin, staff, and student are subclasses of a generalized superclass of user, which is represented by a disjoint set, which can be seen in our ER diagram. Each department has its own staff represented as staff entity, which has its attributes, salary, and designation. Each department is managed by its admin represented as an admin entity. Each department can have multiple staff members and each staff can work in multiple departments. So the multiplicity between staff and department is m is to n. Each department has only one admin who manages it. So the multiplicity between admin and department is 1 is to 1. Now when we consider the department entity, the department has its unique ID, which is the primary key, and a department name. Each department offers a scholarship as well as financial aid to a number of students and has attributes, unique ID, amount, and its type. Each department provides scholarship and financial aid to various students. In the same way, a student can receive scholarship or financial aids from various departments. So the multiplicity between department and scholarship is m is to n. In the same way, the multiplicity between department and financial aid is m is to n. Each department also offers research prospects in various fields to prospective students and has attributes, unique ID, description, and type. Here the unique ID is the primary key for the research prospects. Each department can provide research prospects in various fields. In the same way, a research prospect can be provided by various departments. So the multiplicity between department and research prospects is m:n. Now, the rest of the ER diagram will be explained by my teammate. Thank you.
Hi, this is Priyanka Katepalli and I will explain the rest of the ER diagram. One student can create n number of applications which has a creation date on which it is created. Hence, it has 1:n relationship. Application is identified by an application ID which is unique and it has a status. When a student makes an application, he has different kinds of scores and the relationship is 1:n. A score has a unique ID, GPA, an institution type, the total marks, and the maximum marks score can have. Application is tied to the aggregate relationship of program and degree. Multiple programs can be present in multiple degrees, so the relationship between program and degree is m:n. Program has an ID which is unique and has a name. Degree has an ID which is unique and has a name. This aggregate relationship between program and degree is tied to the department which offers this course in a particular term, and the relationship is 1:n. Department maintains the record about which degree and program a student applies to in a particular term. Students having any queries can post them in the forum and these are captured in the Q&A entity. The relationship is m:n as many students can post many queries. This is identified by a CID which is unique. The question text is captured in the Q text. Any user of the system, be it staff, admin or a student, can answer these questions posted in the Q&A forum and that will be captured in the answer text field. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Ipsita. Here using cross-reference approach we have represented our ER diagram by a collection of tables. The number of tables present here are 26. For example, entity user is represented by the table user details and all its attributes such as email, first name, last name are the columns email, fname, lname respectively of the table user details. Similarly, other entities such as admin, staff, student, etc. are represented by the tables admin is staff, student respectively. Primary key and foreign keys are also represented for each table. Similarly, each relation is represented by a table as we are using the cross-reference approach. Primary key of the tables are taken as foreign keys in the table representing the relations. This is our ER diagram. Here we have entities user, Q&A, admin, staff, student, scholarship, etc. Entities admin, staff and student are derived from the entity user. Entity admin has the only for the entity admin the only attribute is the primary key of user, whereas the entity staff has two more entities, salary and designation. This is our script file. We have table user details which represent the user entity in the ER diagram. Foreign key user ID from the table user details is represented. Here are the tables admin is, student and staff, which are derived from the main user details table. In the same way, we have more entities represented as tables. There is also aggregation of program, in and degree entities. This is the aggregation represented in our ER diagram, and we have used triggers to generate IDs for entities like departments, scholarships, financial aids, etc. These are the triggers we created. Thank you.
Hi, I am Paul Sudhakar. I am going to talk about normalization and how this was implemented as part of our database application. Database normalization, as we know, is the process of organizing the attributes and tables of a relational database to minimize data redundancy. Now let us come to how this was implemented in our database. First, we began with creating functional dependencies for all the relations. Then we try to evaluate all these functional dependencies to find out if they are good, bad, very good, or very bad. We try to ascertain into which category each of these functional dependencies fall into. We then evaluated the normal forms of the tables based on the functional dependencies that was ascertained in the case of each of these tables. Then we had to omit some of the calculations of functional dependencies for some of the tables. For example, offers underscore FA and offers underscore scholarship. And the reason being, these tables have been formed from relations between two tables like departments and scholarships, and they have only two attributes which are derived from the primary tables and whose combinations is a primary key, and they already exist in BCNF form. So the result of the normalization is that all the tables are in the BCNF form, and hence these tables are not normalized any further and implemented as a physical database. Let me give you an example of how this normalization was performed. We begin with one table which is user details, and the candidate key for this is user ID. So these are the list of non-prime attributes for this current relation. And we can see that each of these attributes connected to the candidate key satisfy the very good relation of the functional dependencies. So all these dependencies are very good dependencies, and so this relation is already in the BCNF form. Now, moving on to the business functions in the database application, we have about 10 business functions that we have implemented as part of our data system. One is creating an account. Second is a login feature. Third, update profile. Applying for the degree programs. Viewing scholarship programs. Viewing financial aid information. Tracking the status of the application. Sending personalized emails to prospective students. And data upload by the administrator.
I'm Shweta Kari, and I'm here to present the first business function of our application, that is creating account. So the student who's interested in applying to the university can register by using this option. So now let us see how a student can get registered. So this is the university homepage we have for our application, and left side you can see the login credentials bar. So now as the student is forced to register, so he needs to get registered, and he'll have to sign up, and he'll be redirected to this page, wherein he has to enter this information: the first name of the student, the last name, date of birth, it is year, month and date, his email ID, the password which he wants to use when he logins to his account. So he can create an password here, and the city, state, the country. So now once he clicks the button register here, he gets registered, and here we can see his user ID, that for a particular user there is a unique user ID, and for this particular user we have this user ID as 1024A. So now let us see whether how this data is getting inserted into our database. So this is our user details table. So once you run this query and see, you can see that 1024A user is being added to this table user details here, and we have entered all these fields there: first name, last name, date of birth, email, password, city, state and country. And as he is a student, he can the same user id gets added to the student table as well. So his user id is 1024A. So the user id who has been recently added got his user id here. So this is how the create account functionality works.
Hi, this is Saroja Ravi. I am going to explain the login functionality of our project. So this is the login page of our project. We have two different users for our project. The one is a student and the second one is the admin. Both have different home pages where they can perform different operations of their own. Let us get navigated to their home pages. First, login through the I'm getting logged to the admin credentials. This is the admin user ID and this is the admin password. Once I log in with these credentials, this is the admin homepage which we are seeing here. He can perform different operations like data upload, send emails. The name of that particular admin also can be seen here with a welcome sign. And when we click on logout, we come back again to this login page. And once we click on, once we enter through the student user ID and password, he will be redirected to the student home page, which he can perform different operations. Some of the operations are get scholarships, get application status, Q&A forum, update profile, apply for courses. He can post some of the questions like Q&A forum, which he have questions regarding the universities, regarding the scholarships or regarding the application in the Q&A forum. He can update his own profile in the update profile link, and he can even apply for the courses in this apply for the courses link. He can even check his status of his application, like is it pending or what is the status in this application status link. The name of the student also we can see here, like welcome user. And once we click again on the logout, we come back to this login page. We even have the validations of the checking of this username and password. If we enter some wrong username or password, we have error message here as invalid credentials. Let us see what exactly is happening in the backend. The tables which we are covering here for this login functionality are the user details table, the student table and the admins table. Once we log in with the credentials, the system is going to check whether the username and password are present in this user details table. Once the validation is done, it is going to redirect to the student table. It is going to check both in the student table and in the admin table. If the record is present in the student table, it means that the logged in user is a student, so he is redirected to the student home page. If he is not a student, if the record is not present in the student table, it is going to check in the admins table, which indicates that the user is an admin. So he is automatically directed to the admin home page. So this is how the login functionality works, and this is how the users, both the student and the admin, are going to log in into the their respective home pages.
Hi, my name is Sai Sharath Kuchpudi. I will be explaining about the update profile business functionality. Here, when the student logs into the application, he will be provided with the option called update profile, where the student details like first name, last name, date of birth, email and other fields will be updated. Now let's go to the application and take a look how the details are updated. This is the login page. Now when the student logs into the application, he is redirected to the home page of the application, where few options will be provided to him. Now let's go to the update profile page. This is the update profile page where the existing details will be fetched from the database using the select query, taking the user ID as the reference attribute in the where clause. Now let's edit the fields and click on the update button. Now after editing the fields, when we click on the update button, these latest values will be updated in the database in the user details table. Now let's go to the user details table in the database and take a look if the details are updated or not. This is the user details table. Now let's run the select query. These are the user details which are updated: the first name, last name, date of birth, email, city, state and country. This is about the update profile functionality. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Raja Paulur. I am here to explain one of the business functionality in our project, how a student can apply to a particular program using our application. The following screenshot shows how a student can apply using our application. Let us go through the application one. In general, when a student tries to apply for a course, he has to log in using his valid credentials. After logging in, he would be directed to a home page where he can view all the applications he had applied for a particular course. Using the application status, we can view all the details. If we want to apply for additional course, then he want to go back to the home screen and click on the apply for the course button. By doing so, he would be directed to a page where he can opt for the term he would like to graduate and he would like to study, and also for the degree he would like to opt for. He can opt for any particular course depending upon it. After selecting a particular course and particular term and also a particular degree, he can hit the button select. By doing so, he would be directed to a page where all the programs relating to the previous search options would be displayed. In this, he can select for the courses that were available and click on the button submit. By doing so, he will be he can create an application, and the same can be shown using the application status. Here you can view that a new application has been generated. The application ID thus generated is an unique thing, and the creation date refers to the one when he had applied for. This whole application can be shown using tracking application part. We can also view all these details in the backend where it is stored in our databases. Here we can view that it's before the creating an application part, where we cannot find a 9011 application ID. After applying, after refreshing the database, we can view that it has been updated. The same application ID would be reflected back to the application table, where you can see that A9011 status has been given applied. Depending upon the previous selections, the program ID and the degree ID would be linked to the application ID thus generated. This is how a student can apply to a particular program using our application.
Hi everyone, this is Vanita Devineni. Now I'll make you go through one of the business functionalities tracking of application. First of all, we should know why this tracking of application is done. This is done to give the information to the student on how about the status of the his or her application made. The application can be tracked only when they have registered or applied for the course or the program. Now let us see how it is gonna be. The student who has a valid credentials first gets logged into the system. Now when he logs in, he'll be directed to the student home page, where he'll be getting application status button. When we click on this button, he'll be given the information about the application ID and the status of the application and when it was created. This application ID is a unique one which makes the user to track the application. Now let us see how it takes place in the backend, in the database. Here in the database, from the session, the user ID is retrieved, where in the create table, for each user, they will be having different applications they are made for the courses or the programs. So the user ID 1015A, see here he has applied for many courses, so there are unique application IDs A9000, A9008, A9009, 9010 and all. So unique application ID is related to the application table, so we'll get the status of the application from the table. Here the status of each application is present and this is retrieved to the main page. This is how the data is retrieved back from the database for the user to view. This is how the tracking of application is done.
Hello, I'm Naveen. I'll be taking you through the View Scholarship and View Financial business functionalities of our project. The basic use of this View Scholarship and View Financial functionality is that once the user selects a particular department for which he needs the financial data scholarship information, the corresponding data from the database is fetched for the either of them. So I'll take you through how the functionality works. So once the user logs in through this interface, this is the home page. So once the user clicks on this button, he'll be popped up to select which department he would like to fetch the scholarship or the financial aid. Suppose he has selected a particular department. Once he clicks on the scholarship button, he'll be getting the data from this database table. So let's see what happens in the backend. So once the user clicks on the scholarship button, there is a join between these two tables. Through this join, the corresponding ID for the department is fetched from this column. So once the ID is fetched and the mapping is done between offered scholarship and scholarship table, the corresponding department scholarship data is fetched into the UI. So this is how the scholarship works. Now if you want to see how the financial aid works, once the user clicks on the financial aid, again the data comes from the database. So let's see how it works again. There is a mapping between offers FA and financial aid. So here we have the particular department and the financial aid IDs. So every department has an ID. So once the department is selected, or depending on the mapping, the corresponding financial aid information is fetched from this table, and the same information is displayed here. Okay, this is the complete functionality of View Financial Aid and View Scholarship. Thank you.
Hello, this is Sujit Babu Alhari. I worked on data upload by the admin functionality in this particular project, and if you log in as admin, these are the two functionalities that you are gonna see: the data upload part and send emails part. And I worked on data upload. I'll walk you through this. As you are an admin, you can add an extra scholarship, you can add a new financial aid, you can add a new degree program, you can add a new degree, and you can do everything, all of that stuff from this particular portal. We added a flip-flop functionality of jQuery so that it's very easy for the admin to go through all these things very easily on a single portal. Let me first start with scholarship. Let me start by adding an array. Let me tell you that I'm gonna give him $2,000 as scholarship, and this scholarship is gonna be there for 3 departments. I select all those departments that I wanna give, and then I will click a submit, and you will see a data successfully saved message here, and the data will be pushed to the database. And that's the same case with financial aid, where you can add a financial type, value, select the department and click on the submit. And for program name, let me tell you, like, we are adding a new DSBA program, and I can select different levels of degree in which it's gonna be pushed. I can select a particular department here, I can select a term and then give a submit. And in the case with a degree, it's almost the very same. I can give the degree name here, select what are all the programs that for which this need to be applied. I can select a department here, maybe like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, anything like that, and I can give the term and give a submit. That's about this data upload part. It will have everything that need to be done by an admin on a single platform.
Hi, my name is Ajay Vijay Kumar Nair. I'll talk about the personalized email functionality of the application. So the purpose of this functionality is to find prospective students in the system that we've captured. So what it means is that the system will try and find students who have applied for a particular department. I'll try to send them an email regarding value-added features such as the type of financial aid that is available, or the type of research prospects that are applicable to the department that she has applied to. So we'll take a look at the application and then give a brief of what it is doing. So this config.properties that you see here hosts the connection details as well as the SMTP connection details. We are currently sending the email using a configured Gmail SMTP, and then for so there is an email helper which is tasked with establishing a connection to the SMTP server and generating content for the email is handled by the email content generator. So if you look at the driver, which is the entry point for this functionality, what you can see here is that it tries to find given date range. It will try to find all the applicants that are in the apply to state, for each of such applicants within the date range, it will try to find the financial aid information that is applicable to each of the applicants, and it will also try to find out the research prospects that are applicable to them. It will try to compile an email with all of this information using this particular class, and all of the email templates are represented, as you can see, in this email.templates folder, where the financial aid information will be replaced in this position. So is the case with the research prospects. So this application, this can be triggered in either of the two ways. One, it can be triggered through the UI, where an admin can come here and click on the send mails option to find out all prospective students and send them this information. Or we've also thought about scheduling this whole application as a batch system which can run on a regular basis. So once this code runs, what happens is you get an email, as you can see here, that one of the students, I've logged in as one of the students who's applicable to receive an email, and you see that this particular lady, Shweta Sri Rao, has for the Department of Computer Science is what she has applied to, and she has received an email regarding the type of financial aid informations that are available, and also the type of research prospects that are available. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sharchandra Karmure, and I'm going to explain the business functionality Q&A forum for the inquiries. Let's go to the application. As you already seen, this is the login credentials for the student login. So once we log in, we can navigate to Q&A form through this button. So this is the Q&A form that we have created for our student application,
and here you can see the list of questions and the answers for the same. When there are answers for the questions, this hyperlink will be shown as edit answer. When there is no answer, it should show add an answer. And there is one more link here to post a new question. So let's see posting a new question over here. So you can enter your whatever query you have over here. So once you click the post, it will be posted in the Q&A form, and you can see that reflecting over here. As you can see here, since there is no answer for this question, the hyperlink says it add answer. So any user can add an answer by just clicking on add answer. So you can the question will be displayed over here, and you can type your answer over here. And once you add the answer, it will the same will be reflected over the home page of the Q&A forum. So if anyone else needs to edit the answer, he can just click the edit answer and change the answer. So it will instantly reflect over here. So let me show how it is retrieved from database. So here how it works in database. You can see the newly added question over here and the answer over here, and it will automatically generate an unique ID using the triggers that has already previously set in the database. And once a question is posted, the posted time will be reflected in the table posts with the newly created question ID and the user ID who has created it, and with the timestamp. And in the same way, if anyone adds an answer or edits an answer, the same will be reflected over this table with the user ID, question ID, and the answer time. The user ID over here will be retrieved from the session management. The user ID is stored in the session, and it is stored over here, and that is the Q&A form. And I'm going to conclude our project work by saying that we have implemented all the business functionalities that we have been listed in the previous project reports successfully, and the future plans for the same application to increase its scope is to add an option to submit transcripts and scorecards of the student while applying for a course, so that the review process for the committee will be more easier. And another thing is to add a waitlist feature to register the courses. Thank you.